How's it going, everyone? Hope all of you guys had a happy holiday and on to the new year and 2026. Time to cover some PlayStation news. I missed this a few days ago. We were busy with the holidays and everything going on, but this story got a lot of traction as PlayStation Network had a hacking incident. Now, this isn't something that it was an instance of the overall PlayStation Network getting hacked. Thankfully, it wasn't that. However, there was an incident involving a journalist that has led to a security flaw that's tied to social engineering. A lot of people have covered this and talked about it. I want to mention that as well. Insider Gaming has an in-depth post on that, so we'll talk about that, and we'll end the video with some other news. Front Mission 3 Remake is coming to PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 at the end of next month. Another title for January has been dated, and a demo is available now. And one of my more anticipated games, 007 First Light, has seen a slight delay. Not a significant delay, but it will not be dropping in the first quarter of 2026 anymore. It'll be dropping in May, so we'll talk that at the end of this video. Alright, first of all, PlayStation Network hacking incident reveals a security flaw. A lot of PlayStation users have been hacked at some point. Some users managed to get their account back, whereas others have to leave behind all of their years worth of progress in a new account. Now, this hacking incident is a pretty interesting one. A journalist at the French publication Numerama has discovered a major security flaw with PlayStation Network. The report dives into an incident where the journalist's account was hacked despite, yes, that account having two-factor authentication protection. The user's account login ID, email address was changed, and he was charged $9.99 as the hacker had changed the username. The journalist was able to recover their account by getting support over the phone, but what's interesting is the information they needed to retrieve it. The report reveals that after spending some time on the call, all the information they needed to share was their PSN username and a transaction number from an old invoice. The year didn't matter. With that, the journalist recovered their account. However, it was hacked again within an hour. This time, the user was unable to reach PSN support on the phone and decided to contact the hacker themselves by messaging their old PSN account from the new one. The hacker, in fact, was strangely cooperative and revealed that they had hacked the journalist's PSN account using a transaction number you posted on a page. So this is the transaction number you would get at the end of a checkout. I believe it would also be a transaction number that would be in your email. So whatever you do, do not show that transaction number. I don't know in what instance a transaction number would be something you would show anyone. However, the hacker noted that they claimed to have coded an app to access Sony's servers. However, that claim hasn't been verified as the promised video hasn't been shared yet. The journalist got on another call with the PlayStation Network support, expressed his concerns about his account being hacked, and was then asked questions such as his date of birth, original email address, and original username. At that moment, their request is on hold with the account seemingly suspended and a 5 to 10 day waiting period and a response. I feel like this is a story a lot of people are gonna bring up and cover just because PlayStation has had a track record of incidents, obviously, and it's gonna haunt them for the rest of PlayStation's existence. But I remember vividly 14 years ago, the great hacking of 2011. I mean, that was one of the most insane periods. And beyond that, just last year, there was a shutdown. That instance was a one-day shutdown, or I believe it was a day and a half, and they ended up giving people 5 days of PlayStation Plus. And the wild thing about that is the PlayStation Plus they ended up giving people led to some people having PlayStation Plus extended beyond the window of time where they could get PlayStation Plus at a discount, so it actually screwed some people over. It was an insane story how that went down, but this is a story that's been going on with PSN in terms of security flaws or security issues in general, so I think some people are gonna conflate everything together. I think this is an instance of just be a little bit careful as far as showing transaction numbers and checkouts. I feel like that's something you might end up posting on like a Discord page about being like, hey, look at who just got X game, or you post in your group chat. Maybe you want to step away from doing something like that in the case of sharing a transaction number, because I believe that's what you see at the end of a checkout, and that is what would ultimately be an issue. I would imagine that based on the fact of this coming to light and getting a lot of traction and becoming a story that Sony will look into it. But the issue I have with the PlayStation Network, when we've had instances of security issues and things of that nature, PlayStation's transparency has always been really bad. In this instance, it was an isolated hacking situation where one user was affected, but in other situations, obviously, the hacking in 2011 was egregious, but even last year's hacking, I remember it took them hours and hours before they even said anything. I want to say PSN was down for like 7-8 hours, and then they finally said something, which is just absolutely egregious for it to take that long, especially given the fact, here's the cherry on top, this is a service that we pay for, at least some of us pay for, and if you don't pay for PlayStation Plus, you at the very least pay for, you know, your PSN games. You're giving them a lot of money. You're spending a lot of money to be in that ecosystem, and I feel like the very least they could give you is a level of transparency that they haven't given you that much in the past. But that's my 2 cents on that. In this instance, I don't think it's gonna be a gigantic story in the sense of it was an isolated issue, but I do think this is a story people should be aware about and maybe be a little bit more selective on just, you know, the checkout information they're sharing. I don't really know when that information would be relevant to the typical person, but again, outlining that story of, oh, you might just post something on Discord, X game goes for pre-order, you pre-order the game, and in excitement, you gotta show everybody, oh, look at who already pre-ordered this game, and here's my transaction to prove it. You know, maybe pump the brakes on that one there, buddy, but yeah, there you go with that. Alright, moving on from that, Front Mission 3 Remake is coming to PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 on January the 30th. The tactical RPG classic returns. Front Mission 3 Remake is the 3rd chapter in the iconic series, beloved by fans worldwide, and you've got a brand new tactical RPG, including 2 different engaging storylines. Dive into 2 immersive storylines defined by your choices in-game, each offering unique perspectives and challenges, improved graphics and animations, reorchestrated music, Lancer's camo customization, and new quick combat mode as well. Jump straight into the action with the fast-paced battle mode on top of that as well. That will be released at $34.99. And as I mentioned, a demo is available now. Front Mission 3 Remake did drop on the Switch back on June 26th of 2025, but now will be coming to all other platforms. Lastly, I do want to note a bit of a bummer of a news story. 007 First Light has gotten a slight delay. It will no longer be out March 27th. It'll be dropping May the 27th. In this instance, you know what? They're letting us know 3 months before the game was scheduled to come out, and it's being delayed for 2 months. The delays that I really hate are the ones where a release date was announced and we were approaching that release date, and then the game gets delayed, and the delayed period is longer than the amount of time we had to wait until the game was actually supposed to come out. Let's say the game was delayed today, and it was delayed from March 27 to, I don't know, August 27. So that would be a 5-month delay. A delay like that sometimes annoys me, and then instances where a game gets its release date announced and then like almost immediately gets delayed. Last of Us Part 2 had that. Batman Arkham Knight had that as well. I remember Arkham Knight's delay vividly because the game was announced for a date, and I was like, that's a little bit earlier than I would have expected, and then it ended up getting delayed for like 8 months beyond its original date that it was supposed to come out. It's just, that's a little bit annoying. In this instance, it's a 2-month delay. March and February is already packed with a lot of big games, and this is a big game by IO Interactive, and you want to do 007 justice, and the message that they noted from IO Interactive was this: hello everyone, today we are sharing an update regarding 007 First Light, as we have decided to move the game's release by 2 months to May 27th, 2026. 007 First Light is our most ambitious project to date, and the team has been fully focused on delivering an unforgettable James Bond experience, bringing together breathtaking action, globetrotting, spycraft, gadgets, car chases, and more. As an independent developer and publisher, this decision allows us to ensure the experience meets the level of quality you players deserve on day one. The game is progressing well and is fully playable from beginning to end, so these additional 2 months will allow us to further polish and refine the experience, ensuring we deliver the strongest possible version at launch. We're confident this sets 007 First Light up for long-term success, and we sincerely appreciate the patience and continued support we've received ever since we revealed the game. We look forward to sharing more updates regarding 007 First Light in early 2026. Again, was scheduled for March the 27th, now will be out May the 27th, and I do believe they're doing an early access gimmick with the game. However, it was like a gimmick that you would get to play the game early. Yeah, if you pre-order the game, you get a free deluxe edition upgrade, and then you also get 24 hours of early access, which I don't really care about that. Like, okay, fake early access, a pre-order incentive, I'm not really gonna bug out on that. But I'm really excited for the game, man. I know some people are a little bit down on the art style. Dude, I think this game looks awesome, and I'm not gonna say it's one of my most anticipated games of next year. I was kind of bewildered when it got nominated for most anticipated game of 26. I feel like Phantom Blade Zero is a game more people are excited for, but who cares? At the end of the day, I think it will be a notable release, and I really hope it does turn out well. 007 being back and with a major AAA game from an incredibly talented studio, IO Interactive. We'll see how this one turns out. That is out May 27th, and the 2-month delay is only to iron out bugs and glitches and things of that nature. So, again, hoping for the best out of that one. I think it looks great so far. I do think that, man, that $70 price point in games, it has really become a test of some games do very, very well, and the $70 price tag doesn't matter, but I do think a game like 007, it'll be one that's interesting to keep an eye on in terms of how well the game does do, because it's a single-player oriented experience. I think it's gonna be, you know, your 15 to 20 hour experience, and then you move on from that, and guess what? That's totally up my alley. I just question whether or not everybody's going to be up to spend $70 on it. I think for a lot of people, they're going to wait for this game to be $30, $40, and it probably will be that 6 months after launch during Black Friday of 26, and I could see the game doing very well on that. But we'll see how it all turns out. May 27th is the date when First Light is going to drop. But that'll do it for me. Again, a hacking incident on the PlayStation Network. Hopefully none of you guys are gonna be affected by that, but again, just be careful sharing the transaction page and those transaction numbers and things of that nature. Front Mission 3 Remake is scheduled to drop on PS4 and PS5 on January the 30th, and 007 First Light has been moved to May 27th. A couple months of wait, but guess what? There's a lot of big games coming out in 2026. I don't think the 2-month delay on that is the biggest thing in the world. That'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.